I even wrote like a full-length novel too. Like, but again, like that thought came back of like, this is trash. Like nobody's going to read this. This is a waste of time.
We're made in the image of God, and we are creators in our own right. God has made us to create. He's made us to worship. And a way of worshiping is being creative and just like using the tools and the gifts that he's given us to honor him.
So I'm joined in the studio today with my good friend Dave Wright, also known as Magic Dave. He's here to bounce ideas and talk and go back and forth and that kind of fun stuff.
Here I am.
Here he is. He also recently published a new book. So just do a little shout out to that. About a quick little spiel for Gaming the Gospel.
Yeah, Gaming in the Gospel, a kind of a nerdy gaming devotional, kind of score yourself in the game of life. Just trying to identify some of the pitfalls and the, no pun intended there, in your pursuit of Christ, and your love of gaming. It's like, what happens when the things we love don't love us back? And, check it out. It's on Amazon, and,
there it is. Check it out.
Boom.
There's a Kindle version too, right?
There is a Kindle version.
Cool.
Yep. And actually, as of this recording, it is free right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, check that out. There's also plans for audiobook version too, correct? Coming soon?
Yes, no pressure.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Hopefully in the coming months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with sharing some, if we can think of a story, like childhood stories of like making art of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
So I can think back to like when I was 9, my first wannabe short film that never happened.
Yep.
So I had it all planned out with my dog.
Yeah.
Family dog.
Uh-huh.
It was going to be Dogzilla. So it was monster movies where I was thinking. I was actually really big into like Godzilla movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like a huge fan of like monster movies. So I was going to do like a whole paper mache like set. Like
dude.
I was going to save in like cereal boxes and whatnot, and then like cover it with stuff, and then like build a little like makeshift like tiny looking city, then have my dog like walk through it. That was the plan.
Did the dog have a costume?
Not at the time, but I think that was also a plan, was to get some sort of costume. Maybe just kind of like spikes or something on the back, something. Like I had my whole like, or most of my extended family like involved. Like I remember like asking my uncle if he wanted like a role.
Oh, okay.
In the movie, and I started like storyboarding. Like this was gonna be like a big like project at the time. And then,
do the storyboards still exist?
No, yeah, it was hand drawn, so it probably got thrown out at some point. But
oh, that's too bad.
That was before like Google Drive and visualizing files and whatnot. But yeah, like I stopped. I don't remember the exact reason why. I think it was because it just started to feel really big, and I was like, oh shoot, like this is too much to handle.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be like this 1 or 2 shots of like my dog like stepping on stuff, and it turned into like this whole story. So I was getting like way too carried away with it.
Oh, sure.
And then so I think it was just like, this is too much to do, and I just kind of stopped. But I think along with that, there was still like stuff of like mindset stuff of like, but this would be crap anyway. It's not gonna be able to watch this kind of thing. Like who cares? What does it matter? Like, and justifying putting it down like for reasons like that.
Yeah, and just kind of introspectively, like, who told you that?
Myself, I
guess. Yeah. No, because I'm sure your family didn't shoot that down for you.
No, they were super supportive, if I remember correctly. But myself was shooting down.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how we do that to ourselves?
Yeah. Do you have any like anything you think of from like your childhood or any kind of, maybe not even childhood, just like life, where you were just like art, making it, and then somewhere along the way you were like, no, this is trash. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the time that we were doing shooting the JMP movies, the John NEBTHOS Project movies, and in particular XCOM. And I love the video game, PC game XCOM, and I got my friends, and we were trying to shoot this XCOM the movie, and it's talking about blowing things up. Oh yeah, I was right there with you. I was trying to find places to do the base and all these things, and the big thing I took away from all that is it's like, man, it was just a good time hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And God did use that eventually to spur a lot of us on to other creative pursuits. And I think of one guy, Matthew Rivera, who is just got done shooting Homestead. is it Homestead, I think?
Oh yeah. I think I heard of that.
Yeah, he's director of photography on that.
Wow. Okay.
So this very silly, anyone else would look at it and be like, yeah, that's stupid, but like God used it to move us down the road creatively.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like when you were in it, were you just feeling like, yeah, this is great. This is so much fun. Or was there anything that was in you that was like, I don't know, should I be doing this? Like, can I be doing something better with my time? Or where was your mind at, like when you were doing it?
You're taking me way back. Probably a good bit of hubris of thinking that I could do it. There was probably a level of that. Also, I think I was just really just enjoying hanging out with my friends, and they were excited about it as well. So that kind of fueled it. And then the embarrassment of actually showing it to people and realizing the response to it. And I'm like, oh, right. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. I'm definitely feeling that, and,
yeah. So what were those like initial reactions from people when you showed it to them?
Oh gosh, first off, it was way too long, and, just not the responses that I thought it would get, in my head and such. And so this, life lessons learned.
Did that experience kill it for you? Like, I'm not gonna do this again. Or did it like spur you on to like, yeah, that was fun. I did it. I can totally do a second thing sometime in the future.
Yeah, I think it showed me the value of collaboration with my friends and the ability to improv things quickly, and which I would use that on in my career as a engineer, just pivoting and improving things technically and figuring things out, problem solving. Just like it really kind of unlocked that for me. And we did a number of other little movies, guerrilla shoots, improv nights, and so I think I looked at This Is XCOM and be like, we can do some things better. Some lessons learned, and the JMP movies are not a whole lot better, but it's all stepping stones. And you got to be creative. You got to keep going. Because if you do stop, you get really stagnant.
Yeah, I know. For me, like, I wouldn't say that experience of like not making that movie killed it for me, but I think it was. I feel like it was the start of like let's say maybe not deeply rooted, but some sort of mindset towards art that like I would go on from there. That was like the last time I like thought about a short film. I kind of put that whole genre on a shelf, and I switched over to like fiction writing. So I did a lot of like short stories or like novellas. I even wrote like a full length novel too. I still have actually the physical handwritten draft. Was it handwritten or I printed it out? One of the two in my closet right now of that novel that I never did anything with. But same reasons, like I didn't do anything with it because I was like, this is trash. Like nobody's going to read this. This is a waste of time. And
it's not a waste of time, dude.
Yeah. Well, at the time I thought it was, and I feel like that like thought process kind of like traveled with me as I grew up and stuff. And anytime I came back to any kind of project, like it was like I didn't have a problem starting it and like doing the thing. And in some cases I finished the thing, but I didn't do anything else with it, like sharing it with the world.
Yeah.
Because it was always came back to that, like, no one's going to read this. This is stupid. So it became more of just like a private for me kind of thing. Yeah. So I definitely think that my at the time, my mindset of art was like way off.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine that's a very common mindset for a lot of artists and creatives. So in your like experience, or even just your initial thoughts of like, how can we as creatives get out of that rut and start thinking about our art differently? Like I'm almost thinking of like a term comes to mind as like a theology of art. Like what should that look like?
Goodness, that's a big question. I think we're made in the image of God and we are creators in our own right. There's some delegated creativity that's been given to us from our creator. Yeah, it's just in us to create new things, to change things, to modify things, make things better. We often like get locked up and it's like, well, it's got to be a painting, it's got to be an album, but like, I mean, it can be simple things like how you organize things, and just like how you put a chair together, and just like, God's a very creative creator, and He's made us to create. So, yeah.
Yeah, so totally agree that we were made to create,
Yeah.
like something that God made us to do. I remember, like, I don't know if this was a thing for you, but I remember in college, like this was also during like when like Facing the Giants, remember that movie?
Yeah.
Came out, and those a lot of like the initial like bigger faith-based movies, and I remember feeling like art needed to be like that, like it needed to be like explicitly Christian somehow.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't like that, then it was like it doesn't count somehow, or it's not glorifying God unless it's like that.
Yeah.
So I remember even like still doing fiction writing in college, and even like they're fun stories. I mean, I stuck to mostly like fantasy, sci-fi, supernatural kind of stuff, but like they weren't explicitly Christian. So I remember thinking like, what does this matter? Like, why?
Yeah.
How can this possibly glorify God if it's just some like for fun fictional story? What could that possibly do in the world?
Well, it makes me think of Francis Schaeffer's Art in the Bible book, which I wish I had it in front of me right now. Yeah, if you have a chance to read, to find that book and read that, I mean, Francis has done a lot of work looking at the Bible, like even looking at like the design of the Ark of the Covenant, and that God commissioned 2 artists to do that, and for the tabernacle. So like creativity and beauty is on God's mind. He could have made the world very bland, but it's very vibrant in what we do and what we see and interact with.
Did you ever struggle with that mindset, or even come across it in your creative endeavors when you were younger? Of like, this has to be like explicitly Christian, otherwise it's not.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's so many ways creatively to honor God in what you're doing. It doesn't have, the end result isn't the thing that has to glorify God. Just like your attitude, how you've handled the situation, the creative process, collaborating, just like where your headspace was, what your prayer, just like you might have some deep, intimate times with God during that creative process, which is more valuable than the end result.
Yeah.
And then even saying like that product or whatever doesn't even see the light of day, but like, maybe that project's in heaven, in its perfect state.
Yeah.
Maybe Godzilla lives in heaven.
Maybe you can all watch that in New Creation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth it to create. And, I'm saying that, preaching that to myself, because a lot of days I get up and I don't feel that way. But I mean, God has made us to create. He's made us to worship. And a way of worshiping is being creative and just like using the tools and the gifts that He's given us to honor Him. So
we talked about we're made to create. We're an image bearer of God. So we're made to create beautiful things just like He does. Yeah. I've been thinking about almost art as like almost like a sacred calling, I would say. If the previous 2 things are true, that we're made to create and that we're made in His image, then art becomes this sort of sacred calling.
Yeah.
Where it's not just like, not to like downplay anything that's just like for fun, 'cause that's totally important too. But like all of it is even like, there's a reason behind like what we're doing beyond just the art for art's sake, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm tracking the right direction with that or.
A phrase I love that my friend Matt Shirley put together was creation for creator's sake. Not us the creator, but the creator, and not everybody can be Michelangelo or, or any of the Ninja Turtles.
Darn.
We're not all called to that, but we are, even if you are not a fine arts person, you can still be celebrate it and find ways to support it and to encourage those who are, and finding the ways that you are creative in whatever it is, whatever business, whether you're working on sewer lines or if you're working on power lines or whatever it is that you're doing, there's creative ways that you think about things. So
yeah. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Dave. We had a lot of fun recording this and talking about art and why it matters, and I hope you got something out of it too. I hope you, after listening to the episode, you feel refreshed, you feel encouraged, you feel inspired to go out and create your thing, whatever that might be. Just remember, it matters. Even if you don't feel like it does, it matters. If you want to learn more about Dave's book and check it out for yourself, you can find it on Amazon. The links to that are in the description. And if you want to hang out with me on Substack, which is where I'm hanging out a lot these days, you can check out my newsletter, The Hero's Journey. That's the newsletter companion to this podcast. Links to that are also in the description as well. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time.